1941, World War II rages in Europe. Millions of U.S. citizens join the wartime manufacturing effort. America imports 70% of the world's coffee, becoming the nation's drink of choice. But strict federal coffee rationing means Americans have to stretch their beans further than ever before, creating a need for better coffee brewing equipment. Fueled by the tradition of ingenuity of his working-class Irish ancestors, Wilbur Curtis sets out to turn raw metal and glass into the world's best brewing equipment. He creates Wilbur Curtis Company, and a new tradition is born. It starts in a tiny space on Hollywood's Franklin Avenue, manufacturing and selling simple coffee urns. But Wilbur's an evangelist whose reputation for quality spreads quickly. In 1946, business is booming. Curtis incorporates and moves to a Quonset hut on Indiana Street in Los Angeles, where new traditions will take hold. Robusta coffee beans, an easily grown alternative to Arabica beans, become popular in the U.S. The Pan American Coffee Bureau is established to protect Central American Arabica coffee interests, and their ad campaigns birth the innovation of the coffee break. 1955, a new generation of coffee houses spring up around the country, housing the jazz and beatnik cultural movements that enthrall the public imagination. The coffee counterculture booms, fueling demand for good brewers. Wilbur's son, Bob Curtis, joins the ranks to help with surging orders. Cultural revolution ushers in the 1960s. Curtis starts a new tradition by becoming the first coffee brewer manufacturing company to appoint a female president CEO, Margaret Curtis, who famously streamlines operations. 1966, Alfred Peet, a Dutch-American later known as the grandfather of specialty coffee, opens the Holland-inspired Peet's Coffee in Berkeley, California. Meanwhile, Curtis's automatic urns and DB12 glass decanter, the most popular and iconic in the world, help coffee shops everywhere keep up with increasing demand for specialty brew. Everything changes in the 1970s. Space exploration takes the world to its first Mars landing, as Mr. Coffee brings the first automatic pour-over brewers into the homes of millions of Americans. Curtis responds by introducing its Regency pour-over brewers and automatic urns, providing greater drip coffee brewing quality and automation to the masses. Meanwhile, former Peet's Coffee employees open the first Starbucks in Seattle, selling only roasted coffee beans. As an homage to the first orbital docking spacecraft, a feat once thought impossible, Curtis launches its own Gemini in 1980, furthering their tradition of ingenuity with the liftoff satellite brewer. 1982, a coffee machine salesman from New York spends an entire year convincing Starbucks to hire him. Howard Schultz finally gets the job as the Seattle Roasters Director of Marketing. 1985, at Harvard University, a study begins that 30 years later will boldly announce that coffee drinking likely increases our lifespans. In 1986, Kevin Curtis, a third-generation Curtis, takes his place at the family business. 1991, 40-year veteran Bob Curtis is named president and CEO of Curtis. Third-generation Curtis's Michael and Katie joined the business in 1993. Convenience store coffee, an American way of life, evolves to serve a new generation of sophisticated coffee drinkers. Ahead of the trend, Curtis contributes to the new American tradition by introducing its analog cappuccino in 1994. The instant cappuccino machine becomes an important profit channel for thousands of C-stores. International specialty coffee blooms past 25% of the U.S. coffee market in the 90s, and brewers struggled to maintain consistency among the endless varieties. But Curtis answers the call in 1996 with the world's first digital brewing equipment, giving brewers an unprecedented level of control. Curtis also becomes the first in the coffee industry to achieve ISO 9001 certification for the quality of its manufacturing. With its newly appointed COO, Joe Laws, Curtis moves from 4 small separated buildings to a new, nearly 200,000 square foot facility that streamlines production and engineering, providing customers with lower cost and more innovation. Curtis's tradition of technological breakthroughs continues with the introduction of G3 technology, offering a sealed digital board, LCD interface, and programmability. The ThermoPro and Italian-inspired Milano brewer are introduced, making the 2000s the most explosive period of change in Curtis history. In 2009, fourth-generation family member Brant Curtis joins the company, and Curtis releases its Generation 4 brewer, the first with full touchscreen controls, USB recipe programming, and self-diagnostics, continuing Curtis's tradition of technical innovation. Curtis's game-changing Gemini and Telefresh and Thermo Fresh Track technologies follow, allowing food service operators to maintain and monitor freshness and reduce waste like never before.
Wait, is it fresh?
Oh, it's fresh, kid.
In 2011, Curtis celebrates 70 years of new traditions, all made here in Los Angeles. As the theater of coffee takes front stage in the shops of craft roasters, Curtis starts a new tradition with another industry first, the Curtis Gold Cup Brewer, which introduces a single perfect cup of coffee with the touch of a button. It wins the 2012 SCAA Best New Product Award. 2 years later, Curtis wins the award again with the Seraphim, the brewer designed for today's urban coffee culture. In 2015, Kevin Curtis is named President-CEO of the company he's been with for 29 years. At the same time, his brother Michael Curtis, now a 23-year veteran, is named Executive Vice President. Together, they will lead Curtis into a bold future in which innovation, quality, and heart remain as important today as they've been to Curtis since 1941. What new traditions will Curtis start in the next 75 years? We'll be one of the first in our industry to build brewers with the power of the sun. We'll continue reusing and recycling our materials and water to protect the environment and help fight California's drought. And we'll welcome new generations of the industry's best women and men to work alongside us. Here's to new traditions.